So everything is on the 21st for the pageant. It's lunch and the pageant's on Sunday. I didn't think lunch was Friday and pageant's Saturday. So everything is
Always within the same.
oh, the 20th firehouse. Yeah, that's right.
That is correct.
Right. Big party. Oh, gadget, go.
Cassie, are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening. I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is the Syracuse City Council business meeting for June. To begin our meeting, we will have a invocation. Brett, can I ask you to give that? And then Julie, would you lead us in a pledge after that?
Our Father in heaven, it's with gratitude that we gather here this evening to meet and to do the business of the city. We're grateful for the favorable circumstances which we live in. We're thankful for this great community, for the citizens who are here. We're thankful for those who serve and protect us. We're grateful for this country that we have and for the freedoms that we enjoy. We ask thee to please attend us this evening. Please bless us with wisdom and discernment. Ask thee to help us to have open minds and be deliberate as we make the decisions that will be done this evening, and say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this time, we need to adopt an agenda, but I would make this suggestion. It appears we have a large crowd for item number 3. Maybe we can move that ahead of number 2 tonight, if you're okay with that.
Yep. Sure.
Okay. All right. So number 3 would be recognition of presentation of the Utah Managing Fire Officer designation for Battalion Chief Jared Shawley. Chief.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks for letting me have a couple items on the agenda tonight. First, I wanted to begin with the presentation of the Utah Managing Fire Officer designation to Battalion Chief Jared Shawley. So I'd like to ask Deputy Chief Hamblin and then Battalion Chief Shawley to come up. First, I got to say, I'm pretty dang proud of our group of firefighters. We and our team's just awesome. Right now, and since the beginning of this program, we're one of the leaders in the fire departments for having the number of individuals who have attained these awards since its inception. So just super proud of them. Tonight, though, we're here to recognize Battalion Chief Shawley. He's been awarded the Utah Managing Fire Officer designation as outlined by the International Association of Fire Chiefs and adopted by the Utah Commission on Fire Officer Designation. This means hundreds of combined hours of training, education, and experience to meet the requirements for this designation. His hard work and commitment to this process show his dedication to not only the Utah State Fire Service, but to Syracuse City and our department as well. So we have a plaque that was sent up with an award. And then there's also a little pin that he gets to wear on his uniform from here on out. And please join me in congratulating him for getting this award. Stick around. Keep everybody around.
Congratulations. The next item, I believe, is yours as well.
Yes, it is. For this one, I'd like to invite Deputy Chief Hamlin back up here and Battalion Chief Ryan Eckhart. This is for the presentation of the American Red Cross Life Saving Award to Lexi Kinnison and Paige Sorensen. And I'm going to allow Ryan, since he's the one that processed this award through the American Red Cross, let him present the award.
Great.
Could we have Lexi and Paige please come up? Good afternoon, Mayor, council members, and citizens. Today we gather to honor two extraordinary individuals whose courage, quick thinking turned a moment of crisis into a story of hope and survival. It is with great pride and gratitude that we present the American Red Cross Life Saving Award to Lexi Kinnison and Paige Sorensen. On June 22nd, 2024, which back then was our Heritage Days, Lexi and Paige were faced with a dire emergency. A 3-year-old child wearing inadequate inflatable flotation devices was found unresponsive and face down in a swimming pool. The child was blue, not breathing, when pulled from the water by his father. In that critical moment, Lexi and Paige acted without hesitation, drawing on their lifeguard training years prior. Lexi immediately began mouth-to-mouth resuscitation while Paige performed chest compressions. Their seamless teamwork and skilled application of CPR were nothing short of remarkable. Because of their decisive action, the child expelled water, regained color, and breathing began. By the time emergency medical services arrived, the boy had a pulse, was conscious, and was in full recovery. Without Lexi and Paige's bravery, composure, expertise, this story could have a tragic ending. Their actions embody the highest ideal of heroism, selflessness, and a serve. As an inspiration to all of us, it is now my honor to present the American Red Cross Life Saving Award to Lexi Kensington, and Paige Sorensen. And Lexi. And you can wear that on your uniform as well. There you go. And thank you. Yes.
Could we invite the council down for pictures?
Yep.
Thank you. And we'll just come right up here. Picture.
It's always crazy after when we're done with fire department business. It's like the whole house clears out.
Yeah. We'll wait just a second for the firefighters. We want them to be available for.
Thanks for my guys.
Okay, so we're going to go back to item number 2, which is public comment. This is an opportunity for someone in our community to come forward and bring something to our attention. This may be something that we need to discuss in a future meeting. We can't comment on it at this time, but this is our process according to the laws of Utah. So is there anyone here for public comment? We'd ask you to keep it to 3 minutes. And seeing none, I will close public comment. Council, our next item is approval of minutes. We have minutes from our May 13th meeting and our May 27th work session. Does anybody have any amendments or changes to those? If not, I'll take a motion to adopt.
I motion that we adopt to approve the minutes for May 13th and May 27th.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes unanimous. The next item is our consent agenda. These are items that were talked about thoroughly in other meetings and appear to be all agreed upon on consent agenda. We do allow any council member to take something off for discussion if they've changed their mind. But our items tonight for consent are proposed resolution R25-21, authorizing the mayor to execute the attached interlocal agreement for the 700 South Road widening project at 2025. And then the proposed resolution R25-22, amending the Syracuse City signature and contract routing process. This is a simple process that allows some of our minor contracts to be routed through department heads. Does anybody have any issue bringing those 2 items to consent? If not, I'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the 2 proposed resolutions on the consent agenda.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? That also passes unanimously. Item number 6.
Mayor, could we hold on for a second?
Yeah.
I apologize. I know, gentleman was trying to help out with the sound and the noise out there, but by law, we have to have an open door for a public meeting. Sorry about that. Best intent. No, we have to have it open so the public can come into because it's a public meeting. Best intentions, though.
We appreciate that. Thank you. All right, so item number 6 is proposed resolution R25-23, appointing Blake Baker and Jace Burke to the Syracuse City Planning Commission. These are the names I've brought forward. Does anybody have any discussion on these 2?
Can you remind us who these would be replacing?
So this would be Commissioner Hunter and Commissioner Hellawell, whose terms expire at the end of this month. And these people will take over July 1st. If not, I'll take a motion.
I move that we approve proposed resolution R25-23 as set forth in agenda item 6.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Any opposed? It also passes unanimously. The next item is set for a public hearing. This is proposed ordinance R25-25, amending the Syracuse City fiscal year budget. This would be to make adjustments to our current budget or our current budget as follows. Steve, would you give us just a little heads up on the key elements here?
Yeah, and there's one item in red that we didn't talk about last time. It's for a dump truck replacement in our Parks and Rec department. Since we last spoke, that dump truck that we do have is no longer safe to drive, so we're proposing to push that up on the list and do a budget opening now. As well as some revisions to purchasing of UDOT properties. We hope that we don't have to use this money, but we're in negotiations with UDOT. The original values they gave us were a little bit above our budgets, and that's why you're seeing those increases or potential increases there. And then in addition, for an $80,000, if you noticed, if you walk through City Hall, it's a bit brighter. We're doing our interior light conversion project that is funded through a grant. There are some other minor changes throughout, but those are the main ones.
Okay, so I will pause there and open this up for public hearing. If anybody has any comments from the public before we discuss this item. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and move to council. Council, do you have any discussion on these items? If not, I'll take a motion.
I move that we approve proposed resolution R 25-25, amending the Syracuse City fiscal year 2024-2025 budget.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That also passes unanimously. Item number 8 is also a public hearing, and we'll begin with proposed resolution R 25-24, adopting the tentative budget as the final budget for the fiscal year 25-26 and accepting the certified tax rate from Davis County. So effectively, this takes the budget that we have talked about in meetings, all of this passed, and I do want to clarify this because there have been some people suggest that we had already made a decision. It doesn't become final until this vote. So this is taking the tentative budget we set in the last meeting and making it the official budget for the following year. Steve, would you point out any changes or amendments that we've made since our last discussion?
There have not been any changes since our last discussion.
Okay. In that case, I will open this up for a public hearing. Is there anyone here that would like to comment on the proposed budget becoming the actual budget for the following year? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Council, do you have any discussion before we vote on this?
I don't.
Seeing none, I'll take a motion.
I move that we approve proposed resolution R 25-24, adopting the tentative budget as the final budget for fiscal year 2025-2026, and accepting the certified tax rate from Davis County.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, that passes 3-1 and becomes our official budget for the following year. Item number 9 is a proposed hearing. This is a proposed ordinance for 25-29, approving fiscal year compensation increases for executive municipal officers. This is a new state law that we are addressing where we have to call out the executive officers of the city separately and notify the public. So, Steve, would you give us anything we need to know about this before we go into a hearing?
Yeah, this requires for all department heads and deputy department heads to be disclosed in this resolution. If you noticed, we do our benchmarking every year, but we rotate departments. This year, the admin, CD, and Public Works are up for that benchmark. That's why you see those percentages in there. The others don't have any. It also shows the merit increases are up 2 percentages, so they haven't been finalized yet, but that would be the maximum that each of these individuals would receive.
Okay. I will now open this for public hearing. Is there anyone in the public that would like to make a comment or discussion point on this topic? Seeing none, I will close that public hearing. Council, any discussion? Seeing none, can I get a motion?
Guess we have a discussion.
We need a discussion or a motion, one or the other.
I move that we approve proposed ordinance 25-29, approving the fiscal year 2025 compensation increases for executive municipal officers.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Item number 10 is also a public hearing, and this is the proposed resolution R 25-26, amending the Syracuse City Consolidated Fee Schedule, making adjustments throughout. Steve, would you point out some of those adjustments that we're talking about?
Yeah, there are several adjustments in here. The ones I will highlight are utility rate fee increase changes. These are mostly passed through from our suppliers and increased costs from third party. The total of $4.35 across all utilities for this upcoming year. The remaining of these fees, if you want me to go through them in detail, let me know, but there are several smaller ones.
No, that's fine. I will just point out to the public, for those listening in or watching the meeting later, that as Steve pointed out, these are pass-through costs from the providers that we have. If we don't pass these off, we end up subsidizing fees, and that means we can't keep up with the payments. So this year pass-through for other districts that serve. Now I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone here in the public that has any questions or comments they'd like to bring forward? Seeing none, I will close this public hearing. Council, any discussion on the topic? Seeing none, I'll take a motion.
I move that we approve proposed resolution R25-26, amending the Syracuse City Consolidated Fee Schedule by making adjustments throughout.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously. Item number 11, our first one that's not a public hearing. Proposed resolution R25-27, adopting the Syracuse City wage scale for the fiscal year 25-26. Steve.
A lot of changes in here. These have to do with our benchmark adjustments for the departments I talked about previously. And included in that is fire department. If you remember, we're switching fire and CED so that fire and police are not in the same benchmark year to try to even it out over the years. So the majority of those changes in this fee schedule are for that. There are a few different positions changing. The title change with the Administrative Services Director / City Recorder, moving fire marshal from exempt to non-exempt, moving city engineer from non-exempt to exempt, and then some correction on the Rec 1, 2, and 3 scales.
Okay. Council, any questions on this? I will point out to the public that these were discussed in depth over several months of work sessions. Can I get a motion?
I move that we approve proposed resolution R25-27 as set forth in agenda item 11.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous. Item number 12 is proposed resolution R25-28, authorizing and directing the participation of Syracuse City in the public employee retirement system and the public safety retirement system of the Utah retirement systems fiscal year 2025-2026. This is pretty much dictated by the legislature, and we have to follow the law, so I don't know that there's too much to discuss. But we do have to adopt by ordinance that we will participate. So knowing that, I'm going to go straight to discussion. Does anybody have any discussion points? If not, we can take a motion.
I motion that we adopt resolution R25-28, authorizing and directing the participation of Syracuse City in the public employees retirement system and the public safety retirement system of the Utah retirement systems for fiscal year 2025-2026.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item 13 is proposed ordinance 2526, amending Syracuse City Municipal Code 10.55.30 and 10.30.100 pertaining to farm-related businesses. Noah, any highlights that we need to talk about?
We discussed this during our last work session. The only change was to the name.
Right, which we took out the name agritourism because the state is trying to define that separately, and we didn't want our law to be affected by that new upcoming state law.
That one word.
I know, but if they define it and we didn't do the same.
We spend more time on that $10 word.
Okay. So is there any other discussion points, council?
I think there's some language that may be deemed ambiguous, but I'm still fine with it. But we may want to look at something.
What would that be? Is there something we can fix tonight, or do you think we should just give it a roll?
Can you speak up?
I think that there are some challenges with the conditional use language in like pick your own fruits and vegetables. I think that's something that has been done for a long time under the A1. And so to make things like that a conditional use, I don't understand that, but that's something that I've come to a conclusion on more recently than not. So I don't know that that needs to be fixed tonight. I just wanted to raise it.
Okay. So as I understand it, the point is that pick your own vegetables happens already, but we're putting it in ordinance as a conditional use. Do you want to weigh in on that, council? Or is this necessary or unnecessary?
I'll defer to Noah as I'm not familiar with it.
You know, if you guys wanted to, it'd be simple to cross it out if it's already, because we allow agriculture business and we allow farm stands. The difference between those things and a pick your own vegetable, you've seen sometimes probably the best example we have is, I think it's called day farms on Gentile. Sometimes there's a crowd, sometimes it's parking lot, they're full, they're out. It could include picking pumpkins or strawberries, apples. It could be a lot of different things.
Yeah, they do that down on 3000 too. Just past the Briggs place where they pick their own pumpkins and stuff in that little 5-acre.
I guess the difference here is that it's one thing to have just neighborhood people come and pick, and it's a different thing to advertise that it is a you pick style, meaning you come and fill your basket at a set price and purchase the opportunity. So do we need to be more
Like
specific?
you're putting your interpretation on it. And
Well, I'm
other
trying to
people
come up with-
Well, I know, I'm just saying, and other people are going to impose their own interpretation to it. So I think Brett might be right if we
Maybe too
have like
big.
a straightforward interpretation, so there's no wiggle room of it. People aren't going to do the typical, well, we didn't know that's what you meant.
Okay.
Well, right now, does it specifically state somewhere in here that you can do that other than?
Not specifically. It would be grouped under agriculture and agriculture business.
Yeah.
If in all of these conditional uses, it's assumed that it's over 5 acres. So the scale of it would be kind of more on a, I mean, if it's contradicting, it'd be easy just to strike that from the list. If you guys wanted to just remove it.
If the necessary point is 5 acres, is this already refined then on when it applies and when it doesn't? And that's a question.
I'm okay with it as written. I'm
Okay.
just stating that I do see some concerns as far as ambiguity with that may need to be looked at in the future. That's my only reservation, but I'm not asking that anything be changed.
Okay.
It says on here that it's the following and no others may be conditional uses permitted after application. All these people that have these pick your own, they're already permitted. They have business licenses of farm agricultural production through the city, or they should. So that's actually already one of those things that are already covered.
So it doesn't matter if we leave that in.
Yeah, because they have to have licenses there anyway, and you have to have insurance to have people come picking stuff on your property.
In that case, then would you like to make a motion?
I would love to,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor. Thank you. I move that we approve proposed ordinance 25-26, amending Syracuse Municipal Code, section 10.55.030 and 10.30.100 pertaining to farm-related businesses.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously. Item number 14 is proposed ordinance 25-27, amending the Syracuse City zoning map for property located at 2550 West, 700 South, residential R1 to agricultural A1. The applicant is Jacob Briggs. I think we are well versed in this. We had a few meetings where we had to talk about this situation, so I will just open it up for council discussion
Do we need more?
or a motion.
I move that we approve proposed ordinance 25-27, amending the Syracuse City zoning map for property located at 2550 West, 700 South, residential R1 to A1 for applicant Jacob Briggs. Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item number 15 is proposed ordinance 25-28, amending the Syracuse City zoning map for property located at 3000 West, 1200 South, Agriculture A1 to Residential R2. Applicant is Perry Homes. We've talked about this. This would be a field that is now going to be developed at an R2 standard. And I think that we've had discussion on this. Is there any further discussion, or I'll take a motion?
I motion that we approve ordinance 25-28, amending the Syracuse City zoning map for property located at 3000 West, 1200 South, Agriculture A1 to Residential R2, applicant Perry Homes.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That also passes unanimous. Okay, item number 16 is authorize administration to award contract for 500 West Phase 2 widening project. This would be between 2010 South and 2800 South. This is a public bid that's gone out. I don't think it needs as much discussion. We just need to authorize the contract to move forward. Is there
I'm just going to say it's close. At least this bid is closer in numbers than some of them that we've been seeing. So it's a lot more competitive because some of these bids that we've been seeing have been like differences of millions of dollars. So this is nicer to see.
Yep.
And is that the stoplight? There's a stoplight with this, but that's going to be
Yes.
maintained by, is that in Layton?
It's
We're just being maintained by Layton.
It's not maintained in our city. It would be, is that Clearfield or Layton? Which,
It's Layton.
Yeah, that traffic signal is one that Layton City will own and maintain.
all right,
Lucky them.
I'll take a motion.
I move that we authorize the administration to award contract for 500 West Phase 2 widening project, 2010 South to 2800 South.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item number 17 is one we'll actually take a little bit of discussion. This is item authorized administration to award contract to the West Davis Corridor Aesthetics Improvements Project. We actually went out and voted on this and took care of it once. Unfortunately, that bid was not honored. And so we put it out a second time. And with the results, we have lots of options here that we have numbered the only way that they make sense. So we do have a budget limit. Many of these options go over that limit, so we need to discuss. I will point out that before the meeting, we did get an update that would make option number 6 fall. We were waiting for a bid number on the secondary signs. That one would now fall under budget, so would not require any extra funding. I will open it up for discussion, however you would like to talk about these options.
All right, so this is our Buffalo.
Our Buffalo, the base package includes the signs that are at Antelope on both sides. And that
The
one,
bison.
Bison, and that is completely covered. So that's the base package. The question would be, do we include bison on the side of the hill? Do we include that with landscaping? Do we just include underpass landscaping? Or do we go all the way to option 6, which would be signs on both exits, which would fall around 80,000 under budget, which would leave that money to be used for aesthetics other places?
So I have a question
Yes.
about the bison, okay? And I thought of this after you sent that message out.
Yeah.
We were driving down the corridor. Will you be able to see the bison while you're still continuing driving? Because if you can, my ADHD says that's a traffic hazard. Looking
Okay.
and distracted driver. So I'm wondering where, because you talked about the height, if it's going to
Yes.
block things. So where we're putting it at, if we can make it to where it's not so obvious to still distract people driving on the highway, because people will people. And when
Yeah.
people, first responders get involved.
Yeah.
So we would like to avoid that.
Very good point. I believe there's no way to avoid that
Why?
because as you turn that corner, you pretty much see the whole exit. So I
Yeah, that's true.
that's just kind of my
The
thinking.
angle of it from that direction.
I'd
Yeah.
have to-
Well, from the other direction, I don't think you would see it, but
So I don't understand where the bison would be positioned in regards to that exit.
The bison would be positioned, the extra bison would be positioned on the very steep slope of the hill where you're exiting.
By the
In
exit.
both directions, two on each side.
I don't even know that you're gonna be able to see those.
That's what I'm concerned about.
there's no point. There's no purpose in those. I
Yeah.
think leaving them at the one exit is a good like attention draw. But over at the other places, I think they just become like let's get your attention off your phone and make you think that there's a wild animal next to you. And,
Yeah.
you know,
When you're heading north, first of all, you can't even see the exit sign until you
Yeah.
go on
right on the,
Rocky
yep.
Bridge. And then you can't see that slope until you're already off
Yeah.
on that. I don't know. I don't know that it makes sense.
I think there's more value in the other signs and getting both exits taken care of. That's what my thought was, but I'm asking for your opinions as well.
I think I agree with that. I went and looked at it and I felt like it was just not the best.
It's like a great place to live.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be anything, look at me right
Yeah.
there, you know, it's just not enough space for it. It'd be more distracting than beneficial. And although like down or up in North Ogden, they've got that pretty artwork under
Right.
people get so sidetracked going, their attention just goes different directions than where it should be. And you don't want something like that at a stoplight, I feel like.
Okay. So it sounds like we still have option one, but we could also entertain option six, which takes care of both exits.
And 6 leaves open an option for additional later.
For additional things later,
That's what
yeah.
I like.
We'd be probably 80 grand under budget, which we could use somewhere else.
I think I would.
Yeah,
Wait on
because
that.
we've got a total budget of 800,000.
Yes,
Yeah.
So we're leaving money on the table.
yeah,
So 6? Is that what we're?
Yeah.
looking at?
I like 6.
I like 6.
okay. Can I get a motion for option six?
I move we approve option 6. Is that not right? I'm
Yeah,
just
that's
kidding.
correct.
Sorry.
That's correct. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Tuesday, folks, welcome.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. I am going to shift us from this meeting to one of the other meetings that we have to hold tonight. So I am going to temporarily adjourn us from the business meeting to the special RDA meeting. If you'll pull out your agendas for that, I call this meeting to order of the Syracuse Special Redevelopment Agency, of which the council members are also the board members. Item number 2 is public hearing, proposed resolution RDA 25-01, adopting the annual budget for fiscal year 25-26 as required by 17C-1-601 of the Utah Code annotated in 1953. I don't think there's any discussion. This is just, we have to annually present a budget for these extra redistricts. So can I get a motion? Oh, wait, public hearing. I need to open public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to talk about the redevelopment agency? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Can I get a motion?
I move that we approve proposed resolution RDA 25-01, adopting the annual budget for the fiscal year 2025-2026 as required by 17C-6-601 Utah Code annotated 19.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously, and I will adjourn us from that meeting. I will now call your attention to the MBA meeting, or the Municipal Building Authority, and I call this meeting to order. And item number 2 is public hearing, proposed resolution MBA 25-01, adopting the Municipal Building Authority annual budget for fiscal year 25-26 as required by section 17D-3-107 Utah Code annotated 1953. Again, this is just budget for a district that we already manage. This is our building funds. I will open the public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to make a comment or discussion point with our municipal building authority? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Council, can I get a motion to adopt the budget for the MBA?
I motion that we adopt proposed resolution MBA 25-01, adopting the Municipal Building Authority annual budget for the fiscal year 2025-2026 as required by section 17D-107 Utah Code annotated.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. I will now adjourn us from the MBA meeting and recall our attention to the Syracuse City Business meeting. And we are at item number 18, which is our second period of public comment. If anyone has any public comments they'd like to deliver on this or the other agendas, you're welcome at this time. Seeing none, I will close public comment. And now we go to mayoral and council announcements. We'll start with you, Brett. Do you have any announcements tonight?
Nothing from me. Thank you.
Julie?
I have an announcement.
Excellent.
Okay. The North Davis Community That Cares is having some summer classes. It's called Strengthening Families. It's an online class. And this is for parents and youth that are ages 7 to 17. And it's a class where you would go and learn communication skills, managing stress, setting goals, family rules and rewards, setting limits, and many other things as well. So for parents and youth, it's very, very supportive of that relationship. And you can find the information online. I don't know if I should, it'll be online, and it's at Communities That Care Facebook group.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Anything else?
It's free. Other than that, and the CTC is having its summit that starts tomorrow. It'll be for 3 days in Bryce Canyon, and that will be a very, very informative summit as well, that we can learn how we can help our communities to raise healthy kids. Keep them healthy.
Great. Thank you. Paul.
I don't have any announcements.
Jen.
Heritage Days, folks. It's right around the corner. So if you don't have tickets to the Miss Syracuse pageant, make sure you get them, because that's the thing. Check your inboxes, folks, at the other end of the table, because all your invitations and your tickets and stuff are in it. And I hope to see you guys at the lunch. The PD does a great job walking the ladies, and Miss Cresta does an amazing job throwing a great party. So I hope to see you guys there. Also, the dog park's open. Dog park's open.
Okay. All right. I actually do have a couple of items tonight to report. I was also at the key leaders meeting for the Communities That Care. I found it interesting that they had less concern over other drugs, but vaping seems to be the number one reported from their SHARP survey. They are reporting that as much as 1 in 3 of the kids in our local high schools are vaping. That's a concerning statistic. At that meeting, I also met the new principal for the school, and I'm very encouraged. I have never in my life met somebody who said that their life dream since they were a young child was to be a high school principal, but that is this individual. And so congratulations to him. He got his wish, and he will be the new principal at Syracuse High. I want to point out that we have a bid went live yesterday for artwork at the roundabout based on the criteria of the designs that have been submitted. So that is live. Anyone can submit a bid. The procedures are online. Just want to make sure that that's out in the wild so that we may maybe get some additional information.
We like local artists.
And so that anyone can submit according to the criteria. Then I do want to mention the dog park. I was really excited. That was a wonderful dog park opening. We had so many dogs and such a wonderful experience. I've heard nothing but positive. I also want to call out our own Councilman Carver, because after positioning herself at the dog treat stand, was by far the most popular person in the park.
Animals love me, y'all. They love me. Even the mad ones were happy with me.
So it was a really fun kickoff and great job, everyone who participated in that. And then the last thing, and this is probably the most important thing that I want to report on. This morning, I gave a presentation to the Wasatch Front Regional Council. This is a presentation I've been working on for months. Actually, it's taken me over a year to get in line for this presentation, but it was based on a new proposal that cities have got a lot of stress with the growth and the high growth rates, especially that we've incurred. And it makes it difficult to keep up with those features that make Utah livable, such as parks. My proposal at the end of the presentation was that they do something similar to what they have done with the Trails program, where the state has allocated money that you can apply for to build trails. And I'm proposing they do the same thing with parks and look at us as an example for their first customer. But it went extremely well. I got a lot of text messages after this presentation from people who were online asking and thanking us for talking about this subject, because again, parks is that thing that makes our cities livable and recreation for kids and events and gathering. It is community, it's essential, and yet it is the least likely to be funded, and impact fees just do not cut it. So the league presented after I did that there is a fund that we can apply for. It is not sufficiently funded, and it was in its first year this year. Not surprisingly, all of the funds went to cities along the I-15 corridor. And that is one of the things that I called out in my presentation, is that we really do need to give some attention to cities who are not right on I-15. Because we do have big and expanding communities throughout the state. Again, something that I got a lot of text messages after I called that point out. But there was a tremendous amount of support for this. If you're interested, council, I could present that at a future meeting so that you can see the points that were highlighted and discussed. But I think we made a very successful case that in a high growth period, our funds get stressed, and yet parks are still necessities and still important. With that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
And you guys are killing it down there
We're
tonight.
done.